What's up, everybody? It's me, Joe Irostic, your friendly neighborhood pastor. Today, I'm going to be reacting live to this Cybertruck being built primarily out of wood. One of the reasons why I started this channel was so that I could combine Christian entertainment with the Christian values that I hold so dearly in my life. I'm a pastor here in Chicago. And what was important to me is that I wanted people to be able to be engaged online in a unique way. So I started off with some hot topics like abortion and different things. And I saw that that kind of had already been done. So I kind of pulled away from that. And then I went towards the humor side because I think that can also be very entertaining. And so I went to Ali G and various people like that. But then I began to realize I was getting copyright strikes. So I had to stop doing that. So then I went to Instagram videos. But then I noticed that they don't have any clout. So they don't get shared or put into algorithms. So then I went back to some like famous people like Ed Bassmaster and so forth. And those got more of the views. But I had to put a lot of editing into that. So I said, man, why don't I just do this live since I got a good setup that I use for various other things in the church and then see how people react to my reactions. Well, today, moving away from the side of the humor, I wanted to react to something that had to do with God and putting our mind on God as the creator. And one of the things that I saw just today when I was watching through Instagram is the building of this Cybertruck primarily out of wood. As you can see, they're going to be using some metal frame here. They're also going to be doing the tires out of rubber. But for the most part, it is out of wood. And it's going to be so satisfying. And make sure you stick around to the end because there's a surprise that comes if you haven't seen this before. Well, one of the things that came to my mind that I wanted to share to see what you believe, because that's the whole point is I react to things and then ask you, what do you believe? Do you believe that we have a creator? Do you believe that we came from God, not just by accident and chance? Well, one of the reasons that most people who believe in God believe so based on creation. And the old argument goes something like this, that if you were walking down the road and you saw a watch, or rather by the beach is how it goes, that if you saw a watch, you would chances are pick it up and not think to yourself, it just came from a time and chance coincidence and wind and rain and the water and all that. You would think that there was a watchmaker. Well, that would be obvious, right? Because watches don't come out of nothing, or a book doesn't come out of an explosion in the printing press. And so one of the cool things that people used to do was point this out as evidence of God. And they would say, yeah, that fits with my intuition, that you look around the world, you see things have a creator. That means that if, this car has a creator and here this man is imitating that, then there must be, a creator of the world. Well, over time, and as people did more science, like Darwin came along, people began to think, well, if we can show that we don't need a creator, that nature can do it all by itself, then we can, do away with the God hypothesis. It's almost like God of the gaps. We don't know how to fill in this gap of how, humans came about. We're just going to say God did it. But if we can now show how it came about, then we won't need God. And so if you look at like Richard Dawkins, one of the modern proponents of this, wrote the book, The Blind Watchmaker. And the whole idea is like, look at a snowflake. It doesn't need God, yet it comes out all complex, right? It follows the laws of water and freezing and so forth. And, it looks beautiful, but it doesn't have a God behind it in the sense of like doing artwork with it. And then you can look at the cell and wow, look at the cell. The cell is beautiful. The cell is complex, but it doesn't have a God or a person like this. This guy is putting this all together. It's not so satisfying as he puts those parts together. It doesn't have someone doing that. Hence the blind watchmaker. So if there can be things that come about by laws and information and not necessarily people as agents of creation, then maybe that's just the way the whole universe came about. Maybe the universe is like one big cell in that way, and the universe is complex, and it looks like it would have a creator, but it doesn't need one. All it needs is these laws and these different processes and information, and it can do it all by itself. Well, in response to that, Christians now came up with what we now know as the intelligent design theory, or irreducible complexity theory, which is basically now you have a separate question. It's not necessarily, do we need God for to tinker with the mechanics of a cell, to have the process of what a cell does, or for an animal to be able to mate and change over time with natural selection. The question really is, where do those laws come from? Where does the very information that the cells use come from? And so you have Signature in the Cell by Stephen Meyer. He was just on the Joe Rogan show. That was awesome. You guys should watched that. Joe Rogan was definitely impressed with his information, and Michael Behe as well, coming out with books like this that explain how evolution is actually a theory in crisis when you remove the God hypothesis. You can believe in evolution as a Christian, you just believe God used it. But you take God out of evolution and you say, well, the universe started at the Big Bang. Well, what banged and who banged it? Because out of nothing, nothing comes. You got to have something to get something. And so you have somebody like Lawrence Krauss. He wrote the book A Universe Out of Nothing, and this was supposed to show like how you could really get a universe out of nothing. But even the atheist philosophers came to him and said, hey, the thing that you're calling a nothing is actually not a philosophical nothing. It's just something different than what we're used to calling something. It's a vacuum. It has different principles in it, but it's still a something. And so your something is not really a nothing. A nothing is a no thing. You have a something like a vacuum that creates a space and creates time, and that something is not a nothing. And I know we're talking a lot about nothing right now, but you have to when you have people making those claims. And so that was debunked even right when it came out by atheists saying, no, we haven't solved the problem out of a universe from nothing. Isn't that satisfying? It makes those doors. And then the inside here is really cool. Wait for this steering wheel. It's going to be awesome. And so we go back to this, this idea that we need a creator if we have a creation. Who banged it? What banged? Where do laws come from? If you look at all of the intricate design of the universe, all the constants, and if one was out of order, you wouldn't have any universe. The speed of light, the measurements of gravity, and so forth. These things work together in our matter, space, time world. And so you do need a creator to explain it. It's not a God of the gaps. It's a God of the foundation. Otherwise, you just have a continual regression of what creates this, that creates that, what creates that. And so sometimes people try to do that with the God hypothesis. They go, well, then who created God? No, God is the beginning. Without him, there is nothing. God is the one constant. We're not saying that God needs a God, like how the universe needs a multiverse that needs a multiverse, and you get lost in these Marvel shows that are no more fun to watch because they just get so goofy. It's like, what version of Doctor Strange am I watching now? There's like 20 of them right now, or the one with Spider-Man. Isn't that so cool with the chair, by the way? Isn't that just amazing? I mean, I never even thought that you could do that with the chair, with the wood, to make it look that cool as he's doing that. And so we go back to this and go, yeah, we need a designer to design the universe with these laws, with these principles, with these constants. And because of that, now we can see design in everything that we look at. We see design in our very cells with our microscopes, as well as the stars with our telescope. And so that's first and foremost, is where do those laws come from? And then number two, where did the things that the laws obey come from themselves? So like if you're creating a virtual world, and a lot of computer scientists right now are coming to God, they're coming out and making their blogs, and those who are creating AI, they're having testimonies of really seeing God in the details of what they're making, not like literally seeing God, but seeing the work and handiwork of God there. Because when you're creating AI, not only do you need laws, you need places to put those laws. And so you need this world that you're creating with this software to obey those laws. So you need the laws, and then you need the actual space for them to be. And so you not only just have God as a lawgiver, you have him as a creator, putting a world together, the heavens and the earth, as the Bible says, for these laws to operate. And then lastly, you have to have observers, like Descartes said, I think, therefore I am, to observe these laws and to understand them. And that's what we're doing, because if all we were just chemicals in the brain, how would we be able to observe laws? How would we be able to see beauty of this design that he's making here? How would we be able to recognize this as a good design versus a bad design? Chemicals in the brain don't recognize right and wrong, beauty and ugly, evil, good and evil, and so forth. These come from observers who are intelligent, that have minds. And of course, I don't believe in the theory of evolution, but for the sake of this, all Christians can agree, even if they do believe in evolution, is that where did that come from? Well, it had to come from God. God created the laws. God created the space. God created the observer. Look how cute this is. Now that it's done, he gets his daughter there. And this, get ready for the banger right here for his son. Dude, you got a cool dad to pull out the wooden quad as well. And I will just stop it right here, man. That's living the dream. So I'm so glad that you joined me on this discussion. That's what I believe. I want to know what you believe. Let me know some thoughts that you may have for the show. Have about 300 subscribers. Do you want me to do more humor? Do you want me to do more talks like this while we react to things that are cool and we see God and his wisdom and knowledge? And that, just let me know. But let me just say this. As I get ready to close out here, is that we all have a hunger on the inside to find out why we're here. Who is our creator? Why am I here? Where do I go when I die? Because I know I'm not here forever. Well, look towards God. Seek God. Ask God for his wisdom to show this to you. And then I believe as you do that, you'll see that God has a son. And through Jesus Christ, we have the answers of life in ways that we can't find in anywhere in the world. There's something about Jesus that makes him different than everybody else. And so I pray that you enjoyed this, that you see how cool this is. I want to give a shout out to him in the bio. Obviously, hopefully I won't get a copyright strike, and that you can enjoy this and share this with others and think about, like, man, how could this guy be such a great designer of a Cybertruck if there wasn't originally a Cybertruck for him to copy? And then how could Elon Musk be such a great designer of things if there wasn't a God for him to copy that's such a great designer of things? It's like, have you seen God's Cybertruck? Have you seen God's universe and how beautiful it is? Have you seen how God makes the insects, the beetles, the birds of the air? Have you seen how amazing creation is? And that's God. That's our creator. And we create after our creator. We think after our God. We design after our designer. And so that's what I believe. Let me know what you believe and what you have, some suggestions for this channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this Cybertruck right here, and have a great day. God bless.